Snaptech IT is the expert go-to resource for all things CMMC, education, certification, preparation, and ongoing managed IT. Manage, secure, grow. Check it out at snaptechit.com.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 123 CMMC. My name is Dana Mantilia, and I will be your host. And today we have Karl Bickmore with us from snaptech IT. Hello, Karl. How are you?
Hey, Dana. I'm well, thanks. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, too. So today we are going to talk about a system security plan, the old SSP, that some people might not even really know what it is. So let's start with what is included in a system security plan.
Well, a system security plan is a document that organizes the security requirements, the standards that an organization is going to follow. It will declare who owns security in an organization, and it will designate the philosophies in use, and then it'll oftentimes be accompanied by attachments of things like gap analysis or plan of action and milestone documents. But mostly the SSP is the document that really it started back with the original NIST certifications that were required of folks in the defense industrial base as a way of declaring how you handle your system security. What is your plan and who does it and why you do it the way you do.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the times too, I always go back to the fire drill when we were kids. Everybody learned what to do in a fire drill. We all knew the first couple of days of school, we're all going to be walking outside. We knew where to go, how to get there, and what to do when we got there. And I think a lot of the fire drill mentality needs to get put into place throughout an organization, down to all the non-technical people that I always talk about, as to, what do we do if we think something's happening? What's my role? What's your role? That whole thing. So I'm glad we're talking about this.
Yeah, well, I think it's important to note that the CMMC requirements mandate that you have a documented system security plan, and so this is a formal document that's meant to be written in a certain way, specifically as it relates to the CMMC certification.
Yeah, that's my next question is talking. What is CMMC saying about or requiring specifically with the SSP?
Well, there is a specific documentation. The best place to find it is from the NIST documentation regarding system security plans, a guideline of how you write it and what it looks like. And that's something that we are regularly tasked to do for an organization, is to evaluate their current one or to help them write their very first system security plan so they can submit it to the SPURS system to become registered. And certainly when CMMC audits begin, this is going to be one of the required documents that you'll need to have, and it's really just what we've been talking about: is what standards are you using, who's in charge of it, and how do you go through the process. And as you referred to earlier, it's a plan. It's meant to be how you take action and meant to be the standards by which you make those decisions.
And I saw a template one. I don't know if there's a specific template that needs to be used for CMMC. Is there a specific one for them, or not specific?
I don't know that there's a template that says it has to be, but it has to have the core elements we've been discussing. It outlines the roles and responsibilities of security personnel. It details the security standards and the guidelines that are being followed. It should include things, high-level diagrams like a data flow diagram, particularly as it relates to CMMC, wherever federal contract information or controlled unclassified information, FCI and CUI, wherever those systems are going to be touched by that data. And so there are certain elements that are expected to be there. I don't know that they have to be in a specific order, but they need to be found in it.
Well, that's good. And I guess any kind of template is going to help you walk you through making sure you have all the, the stuff.
Yeah, like everything in cybersecurity and compliance in general. And, it really best starts with a plan and a document or a policy. And then once you've declared, what that is, then you can write out the details and you can build the practices that you need to follow. And that can lead you to controls and then auditing of controls. But it really starts with the document and you as an organization making a definitive declarative statement how you're going to do something. And the system security plan is just critical. It's no wonder that they mandate it and that they want it in a certain way to make sure that critical pieces are not missing or hard to find in your documentation, because the alternative is people will write massive IT handbooks or information security policy documents, and little bits and pieces are scattered throughout this 200-page document, and it becomes difficult to organize what's the security plan. And that's why they want that. I think, I mean, it's logical to me. I didn't write it. I didn't make the decision, but it makes sense to me as to why they want the specific bespoke document that says this is system security plan, and it has to have these core elements.
And that ties right into why is documentation so important to protecting the system's information. And I think a lot of it is that, you know, when you start with something in writing, at least you know, okay, this is what the rule is for this, and then you can share it, so it doesn't turn into, if it's just all verbal, it doesn't turn into the game of telephone where the 10th person that's heard it is doing something completely different than something else that the first person.
That's exactly right. I mean, so many owners or IT people will get fixated on, like, okay, well, I just need to get a SIM tool, or I just need to get better endpoint protection. Maybe I need to add MDR to my list, or maybe it's just I need cameras and I need to make sure we're checking people's citizenship, you know, for ITAR compliance. So people get fixated on the end product, but really, if you don't have a foundation underneath that, you know, you might find yourself with big gaps in things that you didn't think about and that you're not well planned for, or as you say, people just flat out misunderstand. And so it starts with a policy procedure plan, those kind of documents that then should lead you to the solutions that you purchase and the behaviors that you modify and do. That's the way to do it comprehensively and make sure that communication and understanding is universal and adhered to. You can always return back to the document and say, well, let's say what our plan says when there's a conversation about should we do this or should we do that. The document should be your guide. And system security plan is just one of the many documents that you really should have to govern information security, cybersecurity, IT processes in general. But it's a critical one because it focuses specifically on security, which is the crux of what we're really talking about here. The cybersecurity, the CMMC model is meant to protect the defense industrial base, to protect our country and our supply chain from being vulnerable to attack. And it all relates back to cybersecurity hygiene and good practices. And this is how you begin that process of doing it correctly.
I also think too, you know, with turnover, employee turnover, we need at least a document that everybody can follow and everybody knows I need to read this. This is what the guideline is. If you have a new employee and everybody goes through the same training process initially, becoming aware of whatever these processes and procedures are, then there's no, well, you know, so-and-so who's been here for 30 years, you know, he used to take care of that, then he left, and then we just never really taught the new guy, or, you know, kind of thing. So
fantastic insight. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that be an issue. It's like, oh, it's great when so-and-so was here, but nobody really knows where those files are, and we didn't know what they were doing and where was that kept. And so, yeah, it's a good business practice in general to just be organized this way. Start with procedure and policy and planning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that jumps into, you know, why do we really need to have one of these things? And I think we've kind of been touching on that, but I don't know if you want to get into a little bit more detail as to, you know, why does everybody really need this? If anyone needs some convincing, why, besides CMMC, because they have to have it, but the regular business owners.
Yeah, well, look, I think that sometimes people make the mistake of thinking cybersecurity and compliance are the same thing. You can be compliant and still have huge cybersecurity issues in your organization. And as a business owner, you should really be thinking about two things in your business. You should be thinking about how are you maintaining your profit and how are you managing your risk. And there is no doubt that all these great computers and machines run by computers that we now operate provide amazing levels of efficiency and allow us to scale our businesses and to do great things. But along with that comes a significant amount of risk, and that risk has only grown through the years, right? And the problem with taking an unplanned approach is you tend to have blind spots that you're just not aware of and not protecting yourself, and you have risk in your business that you just didn't even realize was there. And so the process of planning and taking it from a comprehensive point of view is going to really help you understand your actual risk, be able to make your judgments on what level of risk you're comfortable with in your business, and then create the risk mitigations necessary through planning, and then onto policy and procedure, and onto controls and action and behavior. If you really want to reduce the risk of your business, which every business should be thinking about, you would do the planning. You would put a system security plan together, and you would make sure you fully understand. You would make sure that it's a living document that people are constantly referring to, and on a regular basis, with the right approval, it is updated. Because this is frankly how you do good IT, and it's a great run a business. Very few businesses operate without computers today, and for those that do, this is how you should approach it to really understand the risk and control it. So, I mean, that's a kind of a long soapbox there about that. But the point is that everybody should want to have better cybersecurity in their business and to know what is actually going on with their IT. So many small businesses and even medium-sized businesses, their owners really just feel IT is this thing they don't understand, and that they hopefully whoever they've hired to be IT has got it, But really, this is a business process and a business management issue.
Well, you know what I was going to say, what I love about you is that you definitely come across that you could have a regular conversation with a non-technical business owner that needs to protect his stuff, but doesn't really know, well, what do I need to do? And you do a good job of, instead of just firing off all this technical jargon that, oh, we got to get one of these, we got to get one of these. And then now you're talking a language the person can't even understand. You do a very nice job of saying, let's have a conversation here about what we're trying to do here. Let's walk through the process, walk through the procedures. And I think that that's great that you have that ability, because I think a lot of technical people can't necessarily carry that conversation.
They call it sometimes translating geek to English, right, or something like that. So I appreciate it. Thank you. I mean, honestly, I do endeavor to do that. And frankly, I'm a business owner myself. I've had all sorts of things I've had to learn how to do in my business to grow my business. And I can appreciate what it's like to be in that position, to have an expert that knows details about things that you don't know. But I've got to learn how to manage it, and I've got to learn how to make sure that I'm making the appropriate choices. And so that is definitely how we approach the world. Look, there has to be a business case for it first. And, if you can make the business case for the why it's important, then you know your why. Now you know how. It's difficult to do the right how without knowing your why first.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing that needs to be sold right now to all these business owners is, well, why is this such a big deal? Well, because you don't understand why it's not a big deal. That's why. So.
Yeah. I mean, look, hey, I've been there enough to see the mayhem, right? We've been involved in incident response cases that insurance companies have referred us into where the mayhem has occurred. And I can't tell you a single one of them that if they were given the choice to go back and do it differently, wouldn't have. They all say, look, sometimes a higher amount than you really want, business don't even survive that attack. But, many do, but they regret it and they could have done it easier. And it's like, do you want to be proactive? Do you want to manage the risk? Do you want to be in the know, or do you want to be in the dark? And do you want to be surprised? And do you want to have, potentially business ending events,
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Well, I appreciate all your great input on this. This is a great, very important topic that we all need to become more aware of. And is there anything else you want to throw out there before we wrap it up for today, Karl?
No, it's a great day. Thank you for the conversation. Hopefully people are getting their hands around what is a system security plan, and they're starting to ask the question of what is our plan. And that's all I hope to help people with.
Well, you do a good job, like I mentioned. Well, thank you very much, Karl, for your time and your input. And thank you, everybody, for watching. And we hope to see you on the next episode of 123 CMMC. Take care.
Snaptech IT is the expert go-to resource for all things CMMC. Education, certification, preparation, and ongoing managed IT. Manage, secure, grow. Check it out at snaptechit.com.